Welcome back to the LEC.
I didn't hit a single one.
You didn't hit a single one. Wait, but I was how long are we going to keep this going? Do we get to see me throw the Poro? Because I was criticized very heavily for the posture, but I didn't watch the clip. I don't know if I throw poorly. We'll find out about that later, and ultimately, it's honestly not that important right now. I'm Drakos, this is Caedrel. We're going to be guiding you through, well, the formerly 5th and now 4th game of the day, and of course, the remade game coming up later. Excited to be here, excited to keep you guys entertained. Trust in Excel and Fnatic to get their boys ready, and trust in us to keep you going.
We'll take care of you.
Through match of the week, you know? It's going to be a very exciting one. Rogue versus G2, currently Rogue at the top of the standings. Contested now by G2. A win here for Rogue cements them as the #1 team as we head into the second round robin, whereas G2 can tie, own the head-to-head, and overall be in a pretty good position if they take this win.
The growth of Rogue has been insane through last year, finishing first in their regular split in summer, and now sitting first top of the table in spring 2021. And I feel like Rogue's evolution has been like from baby G2 to teenage G2, and now grown-up G2, and G2 version 2.
I feel like for the first time in a long time, if you followed the broadcast, they've gone through, Caedrel called them baby G2, we called them baby Origin. Rogue have gone through so many iterations where they've felt like the budget version or the baby version of another team, and it feels like this is the year where we're finally seeing Rogue come into their own, come into their own identity, where we no longer have to say, oh, this is baby X, or this is baby Y, or this is budget X. This is Rogue.
It changes the words around. It's Rogue, baby. Let's go.
There you go. And I think on the opposite side for G2 is we do just have a minute until we get into Champion Select. I think that this is a team that we've seen Rogue experimenting, and it feels like very deliberate experimentation. We heard in multiple interviews, whether it be behind the scenes or from Ashley Kang over there at Horizon, talking with Larssen about how this is deliberate experimentation. They don't want to be the one-trick scaling whatever kind of team. And on the opposite side for G2, definitely experimentation, a little bit less deliberate, but still absolutely a powerhouse team that has to be respected.
Yeah, I spoke to one of their coaches, and he said that Rogue are looking at Worlds, but they're looking at doing more at Worlds and just getting there. And I think that executing these hard-to-play, perfect play comps in the spring to summer is going to help Rogue, especially when they get to the World stage, the international stage, so they can actually show up there rather than just arrive. So I'm really interested to see how Rogue develop throughout the split. I think these hard-to-execute comps, although they're 8-1 or 7-1, have been working for them, I just feel like their one loss was because of these comps. But if they can perfect this gameplay, perfect their drafts, then going into international, having their eyes on international events is a lot bigger picture for Rogue.
It absolutely is. And I think Worlds is definitely is far, far away, but development week to week is hugely important. And the fact that Rogue no longer have to worry about being top 3, this is somewhere where they're sitting quite comfortably. The fact that they no longer have to worry about just winning games week to week is a big step. The fact that they can even be like, we're the team thinking about how far we can go at Worlds is fantastic. We're counting down.
This is it.
How hyped you want to get?
This is what I've been waiting for.
You want to just?
It's been a long pause.
This is everything.
Match of the week.
This is what we need.
The 2 best teams in Europe.
3 seconds left.
2,
1. Let's go. Go!
This is it, getting into draft. Arguably the 2 best teams in Europe facing off against each other in what feels like a long time.
And of course, the Senna immediately banned away. Do not want to see what they saw from G2 yesterday with Mikyx farming up and Rekkles having, well, just about 1 million range. And of course, as we get into draft, it's important to know that there are so many stakes in this game, and we're going to get to talk about them once we are actually onto the Rift. But for now, we'll focus on the compositions and the strategies that both teams are going to be bringing to the table. The Thresh banned away, the Senna banned away, Udyr and Kai'Sa on the opposite side. A lot more bot lane focus than I expected initially coming out in this draft.
Lots of bot lane bans, the Thresh, meaning Aphelios off the table, Kai'Sa and Senna. The fasting Senna has gone away as well. So lots of AD bans, like you said. Rell still open, Udyr banned away, Ryze banned away, interestingly, against Caps, which is actually something only Larssen and Caps have played, I believe, to success. Although yesterday's game for G2 was very sloppy. The TF is banned away against Larssen as well. So I think looking at champions like Rell and Olaf right now.
And this is one of those rare games where we can look across all lanes and expect even matchups, and that means that counter picks and favorable lane matchups that you can build in draft are even more important. For now, it's the Lillia locked in early. Do we just see the Graves come in here from Jankos? Obviously, in the previous game, Selfmade was popping off on this Lillia. I wonder if we can see the same thing from Inspired. You heard it from the desk earlier. You were there as well. Inspired contesting #1, if not #1 right now in terms of European junglers.
Yeah, and Jankos is definitely someone he has to match or overtake if he wants to prove that point. But the Rell gets picked up. The Lillia first pick's quite interesting. I think this champ has risen to priority because of the fall of the AD junglers in a sense. Graves is still up there. We have champs like the Nidalee and the Odoamne, which are kind of like the top tier jungles right now alongside Lillia. But Jhin being picked up from G2 is a good early pickup, especially with this many AD bans. So Rogue, do they want to pick something like the Saya up? Do they want to go something like the MF? They need to pick up a suboptimal AD with these ADs taken away, but I think Xayah has been working for Rogue really well, as long as Hans doesn't flash over walls 1v3.
Hey, to be fair, once or twice that has worked out very positively for him, so you can see why he might have taken the risk in the first place. But I like the Rell, I like the Jhin. They don't synergize super well in the same way that a Rell Kai'Sa might now. So I want to see other tools put together on this G2 composition that'll enable the Rell with that CC, with that bind to find these big long-range engages. And Rogue, I actually really like what they're doing here.
Yeah, they are smurfing this draft by the looks of it. I mean, I like the Gragas Renekton. Renekton top is obviously going to be set in stone, but the Gragas is going to go into support, it looks like, because the Lillia has already been picked up. So I'm guessing that Rogue are looking at things like the Kalista, things like the MF. So the only problem with what they've done here is that G2 can ban away more ADs against them. So does G2 want to match top here into the Renekton? Not only have they picked up the Renekton Gragas flex, they've also denied Gragas top from G2 into the Renekton. So their only option is Volibear, and they're forced to pick their jungler. So that's something they could decide to ban away against Wunder and give Renekton free reign in the top side. So Gragas support, G2 probably going to target ADs here.
Memes aside, this is not a pick that Jankos has played yet this season. A lot of people like to give him crap for his Nidalee spears. I don't think that that necessarily is going to be an issue a game. It's something we can track, but I think in general, Nidalee has been very underwhelming so far in the LEC. You're seeing much more consistent results from junglers like Lillia in the AP category, and now see what G2 Esports can get done here in the early game. Certainly a lot of poke tools, certainly a lot of early skirmish tools on their composition, but going up against the lethal threats of the Gragas and the Renekton will be difficult. See what Rekkles and Mikyx can do in that bot lane and how Rogue want to pair that Gragas support with something that Hans Sama can bring to the table. As the Kalista has been banned, and I imagine we'll see maybe another aggressive support taken off the board.
Yeah, and you can see Rogue banning away top laners. So both these teams have an advantage in draft in the sense that G2 can ban away AD carry, so Rogue have to go for suboptimal AD, and Rogue can keep investing in top bans to force them onto a suboptimal top laner because they've also taken away the Gragas. So I'm interested to see what Rogue want to pick up for ADs. I think Draven is a Hans Sama classic, especially when it gets down lower in the tier list, but Jhin is actually good into Draven, so I don't expect something like that to come out unless he's really, really feeling it. Lucian ban, that's targeting Larssen. I think that's actually a really good ban, something I actually think of myself, because you have the AP jungle and you have the AD top, so having an AD mid as well really benefits that Lillia, so she's the only AP damage and magic damage on your team. So good notice from G2 there. I'll have to see what Rogue want to ban away on the last ban. We'll have something like the Volibear, or they want to ban away like a mid laner from Caps, perhaps like the Azir, or things along these lines.
Taking their time, debating on the options here. Right now we have very beefy front line and some sustained damage on the side of the Rogue, waiting to see kind of what carry components get added here to make this really come together. The Volibear taken off the board.
Such a smart draft from Rogue. The Gragas Renekton 2-3 to ban away more tops to force G2 to pick their jungler. Otherwise, that's getting banned out as well. So they kind of put G2 in a bit of a corner there, but G2 also have their own little trap card with the AD ban. So what's Rogue going to pick up? MF is something that's actually fine for them. It's not like a suboptimal pick in general, but the Quinn top into the Renekton is something that Rogue might have expected or gone under the radar, because Wunder's already played this into the Renekton. I think this is the notorious Renekton counter, right? And Renekton tries to dash in, you just knock him back and then you chase him down. So Wunder definitely flex on his Quinn here. It's one of his most comfortable champions, I think, in this Renekton matchup, because we've seen him play it so many times.
But the really important thing to note here is that this matchup is very volatile. If Quinn gets ahead, it's essentially unplayable for Renekton. He has to be willing to flash stun to get anything done. We expect Wunder most likely to take cleanse in this matchup to mitigate that potential threat. But if you do die, if you do fall behind, Renekton gets ahead of you, it still is very, very difficult. And with the way Wunder was playing yesterday, he can't afford to make a lot of those same mistakes. That said, Azir, the premier hyper-scaling AP threat in the mid lane, is going into the hands of Larssen in this one, and that's going to be a threat that has to be paid attention to from the side of G2.
Look at the difference in comps. Rogue have so much team fight, so much zone control, so much engage, whereas G2 have so much single target damage, winning lanes, focus much on early game and getting advantages individually or in the 2v2. So that's a Vayne.
Wow.
That's a Vayne into a full squishy team of G2. That's surprising. Normally we see Vayne against things like Olaf, Volibear, Renekton, things running at you, but this G2 comp is very single target damage, very low HP, so that's quite a confusing pick from the side of Hans. I was expecting something like the Xayah, but the Vayne has been locked in, Drakos.
Well, and it's only Hans Sama's second game in LEC history. He won his one other game in 2019 spring, but gonna have to see if he can double down on that.
Baby.
Now we've got the Ekko and Caedrel When we came into this draft, I said, you know what, look, I expect Rogue to be able to match the G2 laners. But G2 have drafted to prove me wrong, because if G2 pop off in this early game, there is no room for Rogue to play their composition.
Yeah, although the mid lane is not winning in the early stages because Azir is a range champ, look at G2's comp. It's an early game power farming jungler with two huge solo laners which are side laners. They're a 1-3-1. It's easy to spot. It's a full 1-3-1 comp. Get gold on the solo laners. Jhin's the wave clear. Rell's the form of engage in teamfights if they need it. But Rogue, on the other hand, if you need scaling, Rogue's got it, baby. Azir, Vayne, what more do you want? The problem I see with this Vayne pick is there's no frontline on G2. But yes, he can shred the whole members of G2, but the problem is he's running into a lot of damage threats, so if he gets dove and he does get killed in these early to mid-game stages, I'm not sure how this Vayne can ever really come online, but G2 have definitely drafted a harder composition.
And we're going to have to find out who can come out on top. It is time for Rogue versus G2 in our match of the week. Here we are, onto the Rift. And the thing about these kind of games, G2 games, and most certainly Rogue games recently, is that no matter what you think is going to happen for both these compositions, no matter what the scaling looks like, no matter what you think the optimal choices are, this is not a game you get to predict easily. This is a game that can have unexpected twists and turns where small openings or small windows can be blown wide open into massive leads, and it's something that has to be respected. And Larssen didn't take his hands off the keyboard, and that is certainly going to matter in the early game.
Yeah, you're so right with that earlier point. G2, there's a lot of variable change in their games. They have the clutch factor. Although their draft might be weak, their gameplay might not be that clean in the early stages. They're G2 at the end of the day. So Rogue, although I think their comp's a lot better, scales better, more teamfight, a lot clearer win conditions, G2's is very single target damage, win lane, win game kind of comp. So G2 is definitely, they're the ones in the driving seat here. They're the ones that have to push the game forward and start snowballing this game. Whereas Rogue are a lot more chillaxed with this draft. They're a lot more, it's quite surprising because Rogue like the Lucian mid, they like the Zyra kind, they like this all-in kind of playstyle, but their scaling is incredible. So I'm excited to see how this 1-3-1 comp of G2 plays out.
As am I. And frankly, I'm always excited to see the Wunder versus Odoamne matchup in the top side. This one expected to be quite Wunder favored, but the thing that always comes to mind when I look back at these players is back when Odoamne played for H2K and Wunder played for Splice in 2016, they played a full best-of-5 where they played RGE back-to-back 5 games in a row. And it's stuff like that that I think rivalries are built on.
Look what Inspired just did. He just did red Raptors. Now he's running to Jankos' Raptors. Perhaps he knew he started on red and he's just going to take them away in his face, which means Jankos can't get level 3 as easily. Inspired might get level 3 off this Raptor take if he did get some XP in mid. But Jankos now has to path towards the bot side of the map with no Raptors, so Inspired playing pretty well there, just identifying the fact that he's faster than Nidalee with these clears. He has the mid priority, and Wunder is not high enough level to actually collapse and punish this. Jankos did know because of the ward earlier, of course. But yeah, Raptors taken away.
And it's something that is so good to see, because when Lillia first came out, basically the general consensus was you never take Raptors against this champion. And it's a part of her kit that we don't always see abused in the early game, but Inspired sees that window of opportunity, takes that camp away, puts Jankos a little bit behind, and you can see without that red buff, Jankos was already getting low in his regular clear, whereas Inspired is just zooming through, no problem at all.
Yeah, good notes from Inspired there. Gets one camp up, but the lanes are playing out as we expected, right? Wunder pushing in top, punishing Odoamne on every CS he goes for because of the range advantage, and Larssen doing the opposite in mid, where he's pushing caps in, making sure he tries to punish him on the last hits. But G2 has the early bot prio, Jhin into Vayne. Jhin can push these waves in. But like I said, this mid matchup is definitely going to get in favor of caps on this one item spike.
Trying to trade on that fourth shot. See what the setup looks like for Mikyx. Can at any moment leap in. Some room to interrupt from Trymbi, though, is going to make this lane a little bit more difficult. For now, honestly, calm across the Rift. Well, hold that thought, as we maybe have to fight over the Scuttle Crab here.
Yeah, Inspired one level up. Jankos is getting hit by the spell, so he might have to jump away here. Mid prio in favor of Rogue, so Jankos gonna have to give this one up. Now Inspired could actually take this crab and run towards the top side and try to go for a double crab here. Not only does he take his Raptors, you can see in the CS there, 24-20, one camp up. He'll also get this crab by the looks of it, but Caps did push in mid as Larssen moved, so this could turn on Inspired's head. He has the wall to spot out Caps though.
Can't step forward, just trying to buy space. Honestly, for Jankos, bot lane is going to be what we keep our eyes on.
All comes down to bot lane. Rogue do move first though.
Oh, and this is so good. Hansam and Trymbi getting the push early on is so nice. Early wave clear not quite there for the G2 side yet. This is one of the big strengths of Gragas in general. Even a level 1 Q fully charged on a wave can give you a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and Jankos actually abandoned ship and went towards the top crab, which I think is a good idea, because if it's inspired were to get this crab and then run through mid to top side and contest Jankos' respawn raptors, he might face a problem. So Jankos, smart decision making there. He's just going to trade the crab and get his raptor top camps respawn. Otherwise, if Inspired's on the same side of the map as him and Rogue have the mid prior, it might be a bit difficult for him to start a fight, especially when Odoamne has TP. Wunder running the cleanse, of course, into the Renekton, just in case he gets stunned up, he can dash away with the cleanse with the E.
Yep. And of course, top prio, we expect to continue to go in the favor of G2 at this stage of the game. Wunder, very easy for him to push in. Level 6 for Renekton, things get a bit easier for the Renekton, but still will be a very difficult laning phase. We'll see what the itemization looks like. Wouldn't be surprised to see an Immortal Shield bow here, but now Rogue setting up just to zone off, just to deny creeps. Inspired, there's not really anything for him to farm right now, so he's just using his time to put his bot lane further ahead.
Caps has TP and there's a ward behind. Rogue have no TP, so if Rogue go too deep here, there could be a TP behind, but smart decision making from Rogue. Try and push Rekkles away as the wave collides to the tower, but they didn't deny too much. Rekkles does pick it up in the end. Caps does TP back to mid, so all TPs blown on the side of both teams. There's no TPs in the game now, so now every single fight is isolated on that side of the map unless someone decides to move.
We'll keep our eyes on the junglers as both reset at relatively the same time, and you can see the double AP mid-jungle combo of G2 is going to get punished by the side of Rogue. Inspired already optimizing for some early magic resistance. Of course, is an item that was just buffed on the patch, and overall, I think, can be quite strong when you look at it.
Yeah, and Caps doing the exact same thing, right? Both these mid-jungles are AP. Caps picks up the Merc Treads, which is going to be really good. He gets knocked in. Looks like it's just going to be an ultimate trade there. As Rogue trying to freeze this wave. Mikyx going in.
Lock up, Ignite ticking. Trymbi potentially in trouble. Mickey now needs to back up as well. Gets a little bit of a heal. Hansama leaping forward, but the immediate stun the turn. First blood, Hansama will get traded back. Rekkles still alive, though, to crash this wave. Trymbi cannot walk up. A small positive trade for G2.
This is a huge positive trade, Drakos. Look at the wave. Not only do they get the kill, they deny Hans this whole wave, and Rekkles can farm the next one. So Rekkles gets an extra wave. That's essentially three waves down the drain for Hansama. Look at the CS difference. 20 CS lead, and the kill went to Rekkles as well. So although Hans got first blood, not only does he lose out on gold on the wave, he loses out on XP.
You can see Mickey.
They're trying to freeze the wave here. Trymbi thinks that they have enough to push them away. I think he uses a cookie there to perhaps get some more mana for his E coming off cooldown soon, but Mickey with the double engage, you would think that Mickey's going to die here, but this flash stun that he pulls off buys enough time so that Rekkles gets the fourth shot out, and bang, look at that wave. Not only is it this wave that he loses, but look on the mini-map, there's another wave coming. So, Rekkles, 20 CS up.
It's not just that wave, it's cannon. It's a double wave already, and that's the third wave. As you said, that's a massive difference. You can see backed by Boots 2 and Pickaxe. Well, on the opposite side, it's Boots 2 and a single longsword. Hansama suffering early on in the game.
Yeah, and G2, although they got that good play there, they're still a little bit down in gold. So we'll have to see how this game pans out. But look at the amount of magic resist on Rogue and on G2 mid-jungle there.
Yeah, double verdant barrier coming in. If you're not familiar with the item, if you haven't seen it yet, because for whatever reason you haven't opted to build a Banshee's Veil, it is just basically AP Seekers. You get a little bit less flat MR, but still a very significant amount, all things considered, MR in general. Stat that's harder to get more of.
Trymbi holding mid-wave there, so Caps has the ulti coming up soon. I don't think he'll struggle to push out that wave because he can just throw his Qs at max distance to crash the wave. So small advantage there. Trymbi loves to freeze these waves in the early game, it seems. So Caps will trade aggressively now to make sure that crashes.
No, has to do so. And this mid matchup is an interesting one. And it's two very different champions, obviously going toe-to-toe. Glad it's not control major versus control major. We honestly have no reason to talk about it. But when you look at Larssen versus Cap, well, when you misclick the graphic, when you look at Larssen versus Caps, excuse me, Caedrel.
I'll excuse you.
This is a big matchup because you heard from Larssen what his ambitions are. His ambitions are to be the team that can take down G2, that can stop these endless G2 Fnatic finals, that can be the one that finally, in the era of LEC 2019, 2020, now 2021, take a title away from G2. In order to do that as any team, but certainly in order to do that as a mid laner, you have to go through Caps, which so far has been a just about impossible task.
Yeah, definitely. Caps kind of dominating Europe is the best mid laner so far, and Larssen said the Caps is a beast, but he's a beast as well. So let's see how this mid matchup plays out as Larssen goes to base. Let's pick up some items. He's running back here. Caps is a level up, but I think that's when the wave comes in and Larssen collects. It'll be even again. So quite a quiet game despite these trades in bot. Wunder slowly getting a CS lead and forcing it on his TP, which you would expect in this matchup. But in terms of playmaking and unlocking the game, neither team has really pulled the trigger here with a Drake start or with a Herald start. But Inspired on this bot side river might look to start that up now.
See what the big focuses are going to be, especially as first items get closer and closer. Only 16 stacks left on the Cole for Wunder as well. Inspired ready to contest, though.
Oh, Jankos smites it away when Caps was about to finish it, and I think he was scared that Inspired was going to smite it away, so it might be a bit of a keck W there from Jankos, stealing away the blue from Caps, but I think he was a bit worried that Inspired could walk up, smite that away, and run away as the ult comes in onto Rekkles. Trymbi procs the Aftershock, but the knockback wasn't enough to start an engage.
Yeah, Rekkles going to trade with the 4th shot here. Caps getting some good damage down onto Larssen. Larssen dashing in, trying to extend this trade, has to respect the potential for Caps to ult back. But a nice sidestep to avoid any potential damage there works out. And now Rogue are going to be able to take this dragon just about completely uncontested. Jankos going to walk in just in time to see it taken away from him. Early Cloud Drake guarantees that that will not be the soul at this point. Just about guaranteed to have an impactful soul. It'll either be the Infernal or the Mountain.
Yeah. Picking up that first Drake, super important now. The Rogue want to kind of swap and get this Herald going, which we've seen them do so many times throughout their games on the LEC, trying to push out bot, use their bot lane tempo on a base to just run top and start the Herald, but the wave pushing into them makes it a lot harder for them to do that, and giving plates over to the Jhin and the Rell with a crashing wave is not the thing that you want to do when you want to move to a lane swap. So they want to make sure they push this out to not lose as much as possible, as Odoamne is trading aggressively. Pops the ult, gets Wunder's cleanse.
Really good, really good. He used the first part of the dash to leap in, Wunder knocked back, used the second part of the dash to extend to get the stun. Odoamne just made an advantage out of nothing. Wunder disrespecting, playing a little bit too far forward, and that's going to be a big deal for the next 5 minutes, or at least until that cleanse is back up. This is Odoamne's lane.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious to see why Odoamne didn't actually chase further there. Maybe he was scared of Jankos collapsing on him, but he had tier 2 boots versus tier 1 on Wunder, so he could have chased and gone for the flash Q in 3 seconds, but respecting the enemy jungle there, making sure that he has a losing matchup, but now he's forced both summoners out of Wunder. He's a level up of Wunder, and he's getting a plate, so really well played from Odoamne there, punishing the over-aggression from Wunder on the last hits, and we saw Odoamne get a top plate, Caps gets a mid plate, and that all comes down to base timings and trades.
Yeah, and again, just really floored by how well Odoamne played that. Wunder very much caught off guard as we now see a bit of an exchange here in the mid lane. Larssen not going to get stunned up though, not going to get caught sleeping here in the mid lane. But across the board, obviously a little bit of action there on the top side, but all things considered, very quiet game. Remember, Rogue have been playing very early game, aggressive focused team compositions, and G2 are always aggressive no matter what they play, so surprised not to see more kills on the board.
Look at both supports, they're moving towards the top side of the map. The Herald is to be contested now, it's the biggest objective in the game. Wunder has some top power, so I think Rogue's gonna have to give this up for now. Have to see if they want to try and contest this, because Rekkles is moving up and Hans has to catch bot wave, so it's a 5v4 on the top side of the map.
Trying to get the tempo advantage. Hans, as you said, catching, and Vayne obviously not going to really have a lot of that wave clear. Looks like really be able to push back.
Yeah, looks like G2 are going to get this Herald uncontested. I don't think Rogue can walk in. The thing they want to do now is try and cross map as hard as possible, run to bot side, get some vision on their bot side jungle, try and get Hans some plates, try to trade anything they can for this Herald, because this Herald could go mid, it could go top, and this, I think that's where G2 want to invest their resources, because with this 1-3-1 comp Drakos, I think the way the game's going to progress. Odoamne is walking up, but I think there's not enough numbers here for him to contest this. He has the flash too, so
pull back.
Yeah, Mikyx just pushing him away, and like I was going to say, I think as the game evolves, we'll see Wunder and Caps on the side lanes, pushing them in, trying to get advantage on the side lane towers, and Rogue want to group up and fight Drakes as Caps gets ulted into Trymbi.
Push back, flawless CC, but he's still ignited. He's trying to run for the hills, maybe a little bit more. The knockback, can they finish the job? No. Caps making it out with just a sliver of life. Trymbi still hunting, but he needs to back away. Swirl Seed rolling through kind of comically as it slowly moves to the top side of the map, and Odoamne now potentially in trouble, but he's just deleting the wave. This dash is going to be very difficult, but here comes the curtain call. Odoamne sidesteps, only been hit by 1 shot, dodges the spear.
There's 4 people here. I think Odoamne's gonna get taken down. They're gonna use the Herald to tank the tower. Second spear misses.
4th shot, he's running it Rekkles. Sees an opportunity to get the kill. If Mikyx lands the CC, it should be easy. The Herald's here as well. The Bowline man collapsed. There's no way out of this one for Odoamne. He gets locked up, he gets taken down, and now G2 are set to take the tower as well. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Hans Sama already pushing in.
Yeah, Hans is getting plating solo here, solo gold, solo XP, and this all comes down to the mid lane play as Larssen and Trymbi use their ults. They use the summoner spells, try and get Caps, but Caps backs off, so the other 4 members of G2 are topside, but that's a tower trade essentially. G2 get the advantage because of its first tower. And yeah, I think G2 executing on that play perfectly. Odoamne didn't really have a way out. You could see he tried to go into Rekkles to get his way to escape, but I think if he ended up doing that, I think Jankos would jump over the wall and just join Rekkles there. Odoamne not having the damage to take him down. So very interesting game so far. G2 slightly ahead, but Rogue's comp scales super well, so this game is very, very close.
Most certainly is. Gale Force now coming in for Wunder makes the matchup even easier, as Odoamne looks like he's going to be going towards the Gore Drinker. Should win out on sustained fights, but honestly, if you're in melee range of a Quinn, you've pretty much already won, so Gale Force should come out on top. And up next, the remake of Fnatic versus XL. There's something about the fact that it just says all caps the remake that makes it feel like Fnatic versus XL2. The 2021 version of Fnatic versus XL.
Yeah, the remake. As we see the game progress, it's going to be a dragon contest. Hans is in the pit with no flash. Wunder's going to go
dash in. That's a sick combo. There's no room for Hansama to move. He's going to be forced to flash over the wall. Wunder dashing in to set up the stun for Mikyx. I don't know what.
How did he get there? Did he blast cone over into the pit? Because I think both teams wanted to contest bot side river vision, and you can see Odoamne is hitting top tower, and then Rekkles is going to hit bot tower. So it looked like they were going to trade off, but Rogue kind of, they misstepped. They wanted to go into bot river to contest the Drake, but G2 was there first. So as Hans blast cones over, I think his tempo meter was a bit off there. And then he gets collapsed on, forced to flash out, and now Hans was one who had to base, so it's quite an awkward situation here, because Inspire's catching bot wave, so that means Wunder and Jankos can collapse on Odoamne.
Quinn on the way in, Jankos' spear landing, max range certainly looks good. Odoamne in trouble now, Wunder comes in, he gets the dash down. Now a good bit of CC, but not nearly enough to keep him alive. Jankos grabs that kill, and across the map, G2 are making plays.
G2 just funneling gold here, they don't care about the dragon, they don't care about the vision. They punished Hansama's flash, and they just based straight away and ran towards the top side. Hansama, no flash.
The snapback on it, he is gonna get out. Caps making good work at that time winder to find the kill.
G2 punishing mistakes from the individual plays from Rogue here so well. You think most teams would have just stayed around the dragon to set it up, but no, G2. Wait, Odoamne is pushing out top with no tier 1. Let's base run there, collapse on him before Inspire can get there because he's catching bot wave. So super intelligent play from G2 here. Their comp is really hard to execute, and we said that they have to get an advantage in early game, but that's exactly what they're doing. Drakos 3,000 gold lead for G2, but they are down 2 dragons. But it's a mountain soul, not the end of the world, but I think this is where the 1-3-1 will come into action.
We look back at this play, overall pretty clean from Caps.
I think the Rekkles Jhin W here is what saves the play. Caps flashes in, and the stun from Mikyx landed up with the chain CC from the Jhin, so Mikyx and Rekkles playing that fantastically so that Caps can get the kill.
And I really like what this composition does, especially for the Rell. It feels very similar to having a Taric support where you just get to mount a stun onto a very mobile champion like the Ekko or the Quinn, and G2 making good work of that little bit of synergy. Is now got double Night Harvesters, double Gale Forces. G2 have a lot of burst damage.
I think the problem Rogue have now is who goes on the side lane. Yes, Odoamne can match either Wunder or Caps, but who matches the other, right? Does Hans go on a side lane with Vayne, really low wave clear, and he's really weak at the stage of the game, or does Larssen go on a side wave and risk getting dove by this duo mid-jungle of Caps and Jankos, or Wunder perhaps just pushing out top and basing and going behind Caps? So Rogue are in a bit of a problem here. They do have the 2-dragon advantage and they do have the scaling advantage. They just need to put the brakes on and slow G2 down as much as possible and stop G2 from pushing this advantage. So G2, they want to get some vision around mid, they want to get some vision around bot, and then start playing for this tier 1 bot.
Rekkles and Mikyx keeping the mid lane pressure up as Caps just waits in the darkness, maybe hoping to find a play. And honestly, Caedrel, when you look at the way G2 are playing right now, it reminds me so much of 2019 G2 as we see potentially the collapse from Wunder on the top side.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Larssen's vision is on this bot side. All he has is a ward in the bot lane Tribush. He can't actually see anything, so Caps can all in him whenever he wants, and if they don't spot out Jankos or Wunder or Rekkles or Mikyx on this top side of the map, then Larssen just kind of has to walk away. Watch what G2 is doing. They're hovering towards bot side, so Larssen might have to end up backing up, but Jankos is focusing towards his top side, and this is where the 1-3-1 comes online. G2 can choose either side lane they want to pressure.
Oh, and you can already see it's so hard for Odoamne to get anything back. Wunder just essentially gets to take that trade for free anytime his ultimate is up, and the potential follow-up here from Jankos means that if Odoamne missteps, he could just get one shot.
And 1-3-1 is one of the most powerful comps in League of Legends. The problem is you need to have both side laners ahead and you need to have mid-prio. If you have all 3 of these things, then 1-3-1 is super hard to beat. It's all just a mistake that makes it collapse, essentially, whether they overstep mid or they get caught out on the side. However, if it's executed perfectly, it makes it so the enemy team kind of bleeds out on resources because they have to group up and match the 3 in mid or the 1 on the side lane to try and put numbers advantage. So G2 are in the 1-3-1 somewhat. They've kind of adapted out of it now because they need to keep this mid prio up to keep their vision, and Dragon spawning in 2 minutes 30 makes me think that this bot side is going to be the place to control for both teams.
And the thing that's really rough with the side of Rogue is that when it comes to 1-3-1s, we often look at the 3-man core of support, jungle, and AD in the mid lane, and Vayne is awful as that AD mid lane. It is not an Ashe, it is not a Varus, it is not a Senna. She is not the AD carry that you want in your mid lane, catching waves or dealing with the 3-man core of G2.
Yeah, completely right. Vayne's wave clear is very, very bad compared to champions like Jhin, who can just fast push the wave. Kai'Sa can just queue the wave and get it in. So G2 should be able to maintain this mid power because of this Vayne pick not being ahead. And the 1-3-1 will slowly start to bleed out Rogue, take their towers, push into tier 1, take the tier 1, push into tier 2. And Rogue need to find some kind of way out of it, or just hold on until the dragon spawns, hold on until G2 might try and start a Baron, and defend the play and scale up as much as they can.
Keep in mind, it's only 18 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. Second Herald still being taken here. G2 going to try to rush it down before Baron comes in and eats it up. Shouldn't be too hard for them to do, as Rogue are just going to be resigning themselves to catching waves, picking up buffs, and taking what they can and what little of the map they control. When you look at that mini-map, see all of that vision in the favor of G2, and even though Rogue have a few wards in the river, they have no room to respond.
That's the key thing. When these waves are pushed in, it's really hard for you to contest vision. When G2 pushing the wave, look at Rekkles, they move into the top side river. Look at Mikyx, they move into your jungle, and when they do that, they put down the wards, they take away yours, so that when these waves come into your towers, you're completely blind. You don't know if they're on Herald, you don't know how many people are there, and G2 can just play the information game and bait out Rogue and thinking they have numbers advantages or they're starting something, and Rogue have to panic or try to do something to figure out what G2's up to.
And it's just honestly so difficult to play against 1-3-1 because you think there are opportunities to group up, to collapse on one of the side lanes, to collapse on the 1, to collapse on the 3. But if your enemy team plays flawlessly, they have more information than you because they have more vision than you. They are more set up to push waves faster, which means for you to try anything always comes at a cost.
Exactly. So if, let's say, Larssen Inspired go towards the bot side to try and catch out caps, that means Wunder, Jankos, Rekkles, Mikyx can push in mid and top, and they're getting 2 lanes advantage, hitting the towers while you're only hitting 1. So no matter what happens, it's a losing situation for you. But when it comes to team fights, that's when Rogue can start to push and prod and try to find something. But I think Larssen might just go for this top tower, get as much gold and resource on him, hit the top tier 1, drop the Drake, just try and get as much gold onto this comp of Rogue so they can scale as fast as possible.
You can see right now, still a 3k difference. Rogue with 2 dragons balances that out to a certain degree. 2 towers to 2 as well. But Rogue still a lot of power in the team fights to come. Yes, Odoamne individually against Wunder is probably always going to struggle in a side lane, but as we move later and later in the game, the Renekton can be a very big threat to a player like Rekkles, to Caps even, or Jankos in some of these extended trades. Though Larssen for now, free hitting on this topside tower, trading a little bit of damage on that tier 2 in exchange for the Drake to G2.
Yeah, G2 picking up the bot tier 1 as well finally, so Wunder on the side lane, Caps on the side lane again, and Rogue are committing resource to this top side. I wonder if this will kind of bite them in the butt here if they go for a mid push on G2, but it looks like Rogue aren't going to show, so Caps won't actually have the information to play with. Looks like they're going to back off, and G2 could have collapsed really, really quickly if they did try to do something. Baron being up, no tier 1s, they're going to chase you to the end of the map. Maybe they'll pick up a kill and then they can start up the Baron. So G2 controlling the whole map here. Hans has flash. Mikyx can look for some flash as well.
Fine. Valor to me, the immediate stun. The flash out from Hans Sama will keep him safe. Just a tiny fraction of a second for him to flash out there before getting CC'd.
Yeah, the 1-3-1 taking effect there. Wunder coming to mid because he has the side lane push, and this is what you'll see G2 have all the game. They'll have the side lane push and they'll move mid first. The only problem G2 have is they don't have a tank for the Baron, so if they do have so much tempo on the map and they have so much control, it's just hard for them to just start up the Baron because no one can really tank it barring Mikyx. But G2 will just keep it up, rinse and repeat, push in these sides, take objectives, kind of take jungle camps, take all the vision, and then Rogue are just sat there trying to scale as much as they can.
Yeah, very difficult game for Rogue. Not a lot of room for them to maneuver. Absolutely G2 in the driver's seat this game, but a single misstep from G2 can result in a massive shift back in the favor of Rogue, because as you said, there's no tanky frontline for G2. It's very hard for them to take a Baron without a massive kill advantage and multiple members dead on the side of Rogue, but it's pretty easy for Rogue. They have Odoamne, they have Trymbi, they've got Hans Sama, basically a champion made to shred that Baron.
Yeah, and like I mentioned with the bleed out on the 1-3-1, G2 almost have 4,000 gold now. It was 3,000 around 5 minutes ago, and that's how 1-3-1 work. It slowly pushes the advantage, but Odoamne going aggressive on Wunder here.
Dash back now used. He'd have to commit his flash to get anything else, so he's just going to walk away.
So that's why the matchup's so hard. Wunder can just disengage whenever he wants. Hans has no flash. Caps is looking for it.
Knock back, interrupted there. The buffer, he's coming through. Hans Sama goes invisible, but it's not enough. Hans Sama's still alive. He pulls Caps back over the wall. Inspired now trying to find something back, but Caps is just going on an absolute rampage. My God, Mikyx, the support from over the wall, making everything work. Caps still in trouble. Is going to dash out, won't get both back. Will go down in the end. Big shutdown for Larssen.
Yeah, Caps almost picked up Inspired there as well. I think the stopwatch kind of saved him there. Larssen coming in with the flash with the knockback saves him too, but the Herald, the amount of pressure the G2 on in every lane, even though Rogue do pick up a shutdown, they're going to lose mid tier 2, and this G2 comp is proving to be very difficult for Rogue to kind of dissect.
So hard for them to find room to play. And again, the power of this Rell, we've seen so much what she can do in a team fight, but what she can do with these hyper-mobile split pushers to find these kind of picks, as we see Caps just ruthlessly targeting out Hans Sama here.
And this is the problem with Vayne. If the enemy team has too many carries, it's really hard for you to play. You know, Caps can dive onto him, Jankos, Wunder, whoever it is, can dive onto him, and Caps, the stun comes in, the spear almost hit, but Caps flashing over gets the kill, the ult, and then I think the stopwatch is what's crucially saves Inspired here. Goes back in, uses the ult, pops the stopwatch just about in time. And then as Larssen comes in, he gets the flash knockback to make sure Caps can't get the jump. Caps dashes away from it in the end, but if he didn't, he would be knocked back anyway, and he wouldn't be able to get onto Inspired. So 1-for-1 trade overall. And although Rogue is behind, they're on 3,500 gold here. The items aren't so bad if you look across the board, you know. Hans 2.5 items, Larssen building 2.5 items as well. So the more this game goes on, the more chances Rogue have.
And to be completely honest with you, Caedrel, I think the only reason that play worked out as well as it did is because Caps is Caps. Because he input buffered Ekko E at the exact right time to deal with Vayne knockback.
Yeah.
He should have, by all means, been stunned to that wall. And I don't know that timing. I don't play a lot of Ekko, but I know that it is tight. I know that that is a difficult thing to do on the fly. So this is, again, why we talk about Caps as such a massive, massive threat that needs to be dealt with, because sometimes he can just Houdini an advantage out of nowhere. Sometimes it doesn't seem like there's any way he finds a kill or any way he makes it out alive, and he does anyway. Yeah,
Caps showing why he's been one of, well, the best mid in Europe the last couple of years. As they look on Odoamne here, Odoamne has the ult, has the flash. Nothing much can happen here. As the 1-3-1 is still in effect for G2, but Rogue, if G2 make a mistake, Rogue can turn and burn this Baron so quick. And if G2 lose Baron with a 1-3-1 comp, if you're against Baron as 1-3-1, it's so hard for you to play the game. As Caps keeps Odoamne under his tower.
Because again, we talk about Hans Sama as lacking wave clear and how it's a bit problematic for Rogue. G2's entire composition is a bunch of Hans Samas when the enemy team has Baron. Yes, Jhin has a little bit, but Nidalee, Quinn, Ekko, these champions have to get so close to the wave to even try to contest it. So little actual AoE in any of these kits. It is going to be a nightmare. If Rogue get a single Baron, the game might just end.
Yeah, I think the same works for G2, but G2 have a lot harder tasks to get the Baron. They need to get like a good team fight, they need to pick off a couple members of Rogue before they can start at Caps. Using his bot power here, Jankos is behind him, they're looking to contest his mid wave. Look at Wunder as well, Inspired has no flash.
Caught out. Does he have the Zhonya's cooldown back up? He does. He buys a few brief moments. Trymbi needs to get a little bit more space, but he can't save his jungler there. Mikyx now going to be in trouble. Odoamne off to the backside, interrupting Rekkles. Trying desperately to find the AD carry. That's a massive stun. That's massive damage. Oh, he's been locked in that million phase all game, and he wants to turn it. Rekkles, are you kidding me? Rekkles makes it out alive. Hans Sama wants to come back in, but there's no room. Are you kidding? Rekkles, how are you alive?
But Drakos, that's a 2-for-2, and Rogue are down so much gold. This is the problem with 1-3-1. If you get into team fights, if you overextend, Rogue's comps will bite you in the butt, and they're going to go for the third dragon here. Jankos looking for a spear onto Trymbi.
Hans Sama chasing potentially on the hunt. Rekkles living with 6 HP.
It's a 3v3.
6 HP.
6 HP?
Yeah.
Oh, man. If Rekkles died there, I think Rogue would have 100% got this dragon. They would have full Baron control, so the game of inch is coming in here. But Wunder coming back from base means that Rogue are going to have to give up this dragon. And that's just 2 dragons for either side, so this Dragon Soul point won't come in for at least 10 more minutes. So both these teams facing down Baron. And looking at team fights here, I think Drakos.
Yeah, let's talk about team fights, Caedrel. This is going to be wild. I mean, we saw already that the Renekton, despite being now 0-3-0, can almost one-shot Rekkles if he's ever allowed to get into melee range.
And Larssen was in the fight, but I think that if Larssen and Hans have got to the fight slightly earlier and been able to more, then I think that G2 would have lost a lot more. I think G2's comp so much single target damage, not that much wave clear. There's a TP coming behind Mikyx, he has no flash. Larsen's TPing in, all of Rogue are here. I think Mikyx's gonna get collapsed on here. Caps is on his way, but I think Mikyx needs to find a way out. But there's a ward where he's running, there's a blast code. If he can get that, he can get out. I think keep out.
Oh, Larssen! They send him back. Now Caps locked in the middle of the team. He has to snap back, he has to run. Mikyx in trouble, he has no chance to remount. Maybe he has enough ability haste to try to get out of this one. Yes, it looks like he maybe, just maybe can. Trymbi chasing, Larssen chasing, but the knockback is there. A clutch cask from Trymbi.
Odoamne ulted, he's fighting Wunder. I think Odoamne used ult there. He was fighting Wunder, trying to force some summoners perhaps, but wow, Larssen knocking Mikyx back into his team, stopping him from escaping on the blast cone, was almost a millisecond away from hitting that.
Very close, very clutch. What does it mean though? What does it mean that Mikyx drops? There's not really a lot for them to get on the map. We can take a look back at how this play unfolded.
Yeah, Inspired has no flash, so G2 want to collapse on him, but the problem is, like I said, single target damage, no frontline. Look at Larssen, look at Hans. If they can join this fight, look at how fast G2 start to melt, and watch Odoamne and Rekkles. This was the fight we were looking at. As he follows the flash of Rekkles, Rekkles heals, and now Rekkles can't really escape, but this last Q from Odoamne doesn't finish him off, and he can't get the auto attack because he doesn't have enough movement speed to catch up, doesn't have the E. Rekkles just about lives on 6 HP, like you said, but imagine if Rogue were quicker to the play, quicker to react to this team fight. I think G2 could have lost a lot more.
Imagine if Fleet Footwork is another 1/10 of a second delayed. How different does that exchange look? I mean, and he used everything. He used Gale Force, he used Flash, so I mean, everything. Just barely able to make it out. And of course, Renekton is going to get stronger. He's going to get more damage in the kit. Rekkles maybe gets some more tanky stats, but you have to imagine he's going to keep just building damage. So I can't imagine that 1v1 shifts too much as we get later, unless they are willing to use resources to protect him.
But I think the crucial thing is, look at Hans Sama's items. He's sitting on 3 items on this Vayne. He's been scaling. Although Rekkles is 3 items too, I think Vayne's impact later on in the game is a lot higher because Jhin struggles against frontline, and that's exactly what Rogue have in this Gragas and in this Renekton. So Hans Wunder engage on Larssen.
Isolating Larssen. Larssen getting knocked down so incredibly low. Look at the flash, look at the auto, the shutdown. Larssen caught sleeping, the immediate start to the fight. Caps now looking for the re-engage. Inspired going to try to make him go sleepy. He's going to catch two, but the stun still comes through. The input buffer from Mikyx is flawless. The double kill now from Wunder. Rogue on the retreat. G2 finally found their opening. They found their opportunity. They can set their sights on the Baron.
The mid jungle of Rogue is down. That's so crucial for G2. This is the time that they need. This is the window that they need to start the Baron. No mid, no jungle. I don't think Rogue can contest this. They just have to push out waves, get as much gold as they can. But G2, after this Baron, are looking at like a 6,000-7,000 gold lead with a 1-3-1 comp. And the individual plays from G2 coming out. Wunder catching out Larssen. Larssen was blinded. He thought, oh, I have to flash away, but he was 1 second too late. And G2 pick up 2 kills in the Baron.
And this is massive, Caedrel. For so long, it's been this close back and forth where anyone can take these skirmishes, but we see here this pick from Wunder, this damage coming in from Quinn, finding this assassination onto Larssen just instantly wins them the fight.
Yeah, Larssen couldn't see anything there. He just had to reactively flash away, but it was too late to get taken down by Wunder. And look at Trymbi, just about survives on the shot from Rekkles, and then Inspired going down. Odoamne blocks the final shot, and G2 find 2 kills, and they're doing it so well. You should have seen how the team fight. Did you see how that team fight was set up? You know, G2, they get all the vision, and then they wait for Rogue to walk into them, and then they just catch them off with just one huge bite. Get 2 kills, they get the Baron. Now, 1-3-1 comp is online.
And we talked about Hansama as being this potential avenue for Rogue to come back to the game, to win these fights, to shred through the lineup of G2, to out-damage, to outmatch Rekkles in these fights. And we'll hold that thought as we potentially have another one on our hands. Caps goes in. Snare goes wide, but what you saw in that fight was Hans just E'd. That was about all he could do. Maybe 1 auto, maybe 2, but he did not have the room to work against the likes of this Ekko, this Quinn, this Nidalee, who are just diving straight at him at every opportunity. And right when I say it, here we see it again. Larssen running out to safety. All of G2 collapsing in the mid lane, and Rogue are late to the play. Wunder's just harassing, knowing that they need to just push this wave in. Rogue need to take a fight or they're going to lose so much.
Exactly, Caps and Wunder are just buying time so that the wave can crash. Rogue are going to get there in time. Are they going to be able to clear the wave? Because G2 can hit this tower. They have a lot of pressure when it comes to sieging. They're grouping up, and they're so strong. They have so much individual prowess, so much damage on each of these champions. So if anything hits, Rogue just have to back off straight away. Rogue have to find some kind of engage so that their carries can walk forwards.
That's an inhibitor taken uncontested. And keep in mind, Wunder is squishy. Yes, he has the cleanse, but if he missteps even a single time in this game, he will get one-shot by the lineup of Rogue. So to see him playing so far forward is incredibly brave, but incredibly risky. Now, Rogue trying to regroup, trying to stay strong. He's Wunder on the flank. He does not have a flash. The dive coming in from Quinn can't get him over a wall that size.
Caps looking for more.
Caps looking for Trymbi. Trymbi incredibly squishy.
You can see the combo of Ekko Rell there. Mickey and Caps communication so good. Caps jumps in, Mickey pops the stun as Caps hits onto Trymbi. Caps does decide to ult away because his ult cooldown is so short in this later stage of the game. The amount of ability haste that he does have, but you can see these fights. G2, they don't have to 1-3-1. They can just group up, push in the mid wave, deny all vision of Rogue, and if you have no vision and no wave to work with, it's so hard to find an engage onto this backline of G2 because they have so many damage threats.
And let's remember, Caedrel, the ambition of Rogue coming into this game. We heard from Larssen in an interview with Kryze, and we heard it in the match of the week. He wants to be the one to take down G2. G2 coming out swinging, reminding him that maybe he's not there yet, because since the mid-game, since that single fight, now with this Baron, G2 have exploded onto the map. They are in absolute control of this game, and hope for Rogue is running out very quickly. The windows of opportunity for them to actually come back into this game are getting smaller and smaller, Caedrel.
They are indeed. The only thing that they have going for them is the scaling and is the team fight, but G2 playing this super hard to execute comp, but if it's played perfectly, it'll play.
Dash, Stridebreaker.
Okay. Was looking for the engage, but the Gale Force from Rekkles gets him out. Odoamne did use the ult, so down ultimate there as Caps might look to dive in again. He's been diving in so many times because he can just chunk someone out, ult away, in 30 seconds his ult's up again, so doesn't really have to worry about it because his one chunk is one tower. Trymbi gets a knockback.
Knockback, Wunder knocked into the wall. Ooh, still going to be able to find the kill, but here comes Larssen in the midst of everything. He pushes him back over the wall. This is massive for Larssen. Cap snaps back, but not where he needs to go. Big fight for G2. Curtain call coming in. The leap out to safety. Rogue holding on for now, but the snipe! Are you kidding me? Inspired. Rekkles threading the needle to take down the enemy jungler.
This could have been the play that Rogue needed to defend, but that one bullet kills down Inspired, and now it's a 3v3 for G2. I think G2 can push for this inhibitor. Do they want to push for more? Rogue's carries are alive. Odoamne is alive as well. They have the flashes, but I think G2 might just want to back off after this bot lane inhibitor. Rogue could look for more.
Hansama stepping forward, low mana for Caps and Jankos. Stridebreaker goes in, slowing down Caps. Hansama has to backstep though. If the snare lands, he knows he's dead.
Oh, Larssen wants more.
Larssen pushing. The red buff ticking, but he doesn't get in range to use his own autos. He has to use the soldier instead. Hansama still chasing, but he has to be careful. There's a fourth shot. There's a Nidalee. Hansama, but he goes golden. The dash forward for Odoamne. If he hits one, he can double dash into the second. That's going to be going through Stridebreaker. First dash. He's set up for the second now. Dash through again, trying to get the follow. Hansama flashing in. G2, have they bit off more than they can chew? Caps running for his life. He can snap back if he needs to with the ultimate, but it's not going to be enough. That's enemy jungler down.
Drakos, this is huge. Larssen got so many shutdowns in these engages, 3 kills for the side of Rogue, and now they're scaling so well, and I think G2 just went in way too deep. You could see they went all the way into the base gates when the rest of G2 were at the tower, the tier 2 tower, and it's all because Wunder gets the kill on Trymbi, but look at this knockback from Larssen, gets 2 people on top of Wunder dying from the actual pushback itself. So not only does Larssen get the shutdown on Wunder, which was 700, he got the shutdown on Inspired as well. So this Azir is getting so strong.
And that last shot had no right connecting, but I guess Lillia's got 4 legs, so maybe a little bigger, a little bit easier to hit. But now we see, I mean, that's a death cap, that's a void staff. That is the 2 items you do not want to see on the enemy hyper carry.
Yeah, we're looking at a point in the game where gold is not a huge deal right now. I mean, yes, G2 is up 8,000 gold by the looks of it, but it doesn't feel like it because Rogue, Vayne, Larssen, they have so many items, 4 items on each of them, Guardian Angel on hands. These diving threats of G2 are getting weaker and weaker, and the amount of flashes blown in that engage is crazy. You know, Jankos and Caps have no flash, now Caps can't play as aggressive, so can G2 push for these vision advantages that they've been keeping, or are Rogue going to be able to make a comeback here just based on their composition alone?
30 seconds to Baron, 2 minutes now to a Mountain Soul for G2 if they can take that Dragon. Now it is double Moonstone for the side of Rogue, so maybe they don't have quite as much damage in their utility positions, but they have a lot more healing, which means that if G2 cannot find these single picks, cannot find these single kills, if they have to extend a fight, they will surely go in the favor of Rogue. This healing will matter so incredibly much.
It will indeed, especially for the likes of Larssen and Hands on these carries who do so much damage compared to the likes of G2, and Hans is at that point in the game where the Vayne becomes an outplay machine. He can dodge all of these skill shots from G2 and maybe pick up lots of kills in the fights, but Odoamne no flash. Wunder's looking for him. He was on a ward, so Odoamne smartly backing off, but Wunder might still go for it anyway.
Odoamne knows that he's done. At this point, he has to leap in. There's a TP now coming in, but I think it's too little too late.
G2 running towards the Baron.
Be there. They can pressure, they can threaten the sideway, they have super creeps. The rest of G2 now starting the Baron. Caps moving in up against Larssen. He can teleport back at any point, and he is going to go in. Larssen, though, throwing down the damage. Caps locking up, but he's buying time for the rest of his team to do the Baron. That's going to be 1 picked up by the side of Rogue. They've taken down Caps, but at what cost? Baron getting lower, no one in the area to contest. That is most certainly an uncontested Baron now in favor of G2.
This is such a smart play from G2. They use their 1-3-1. They use both their solo lanes to go to the same lane to try and catch out Odoamne. Rogue have to respond with numbers, and when they do that, the 3-man of G2 turn towards the Baron. They get that, and now this 1-3-1 of G2. Although Caps doesn't have the buff, the rest of the 4 have the Baron buff, so Rogue might look to try and find some engages, try and get these Baron buffs off the likes of G2, but both Mikyx and Jankos hovering around. Trymbi has the flash engage. Wunder on the side.
Wunder for the rebound. That's going to be huge. Now Wunder taken out. That's a big shutdown for Rogue. Baron is still alive.
That's insane. Both these solo laners don't have Baron for this 1-3-1. Larssen predicts the flash from Wunder. Neither Caps or Wunder have Baron, so now the rest of G2 have to back off. 15 seconds on this Mountain Soul is crucial. Still 2 dead for G2. Caps has TP if he wants to join the fight. It's going to be a 5v4, Drakos.
3 Baron buffs still alive. Excuse me, what I meant to say. Baron is most certainly dead, but now Mountain Soul going to be the big deal. 3 seconds. Miracle Steel could just immediately put that soul buff in the favor of G2, but Rogue should be uncontested in taking this. But G2, meanwhile, are TPing. They're saying, if you want to try to take this, we are ready to end the game. Caps immediately down to the bottom side of the map.
Rekkles mid. Pushing in. Doesn't get the in hit by the looks of it, but Caps might get this tower, but I think that's all he's going to get. He's going to have to ult out, back away. Odoamne's there, Larssen's there, and good response from Rogue. Get the Dragon. Larssen, you go base while we're doing this. We're going to win the 3v2, so you go defend the base. And G2 trying to find holes in Rogue's gameplay, but Rogue answering back. This scaling comp is coming online. Yes, they're down 10,000 gold, but Drakos, it doesn't feel like it because the scaling is coming in for Rogue.
This is absolutely massive. G2 most certainly favored to end the game, but I got to know, if you're at home right now, it says take the trophy, but pretend it's take the game. Can Rogue take this game from G2? That's what I want you to vote. It says NA or EU. I'll leave that down. Marcus, throw up the right one when you get a chance. Rogue, RGE, or G2 in chat. Let us know. Vote yes or no. Can Rogue, there you go. Vote yes. Yes would be Rogue, no would be G2 in this case. Let us know what you think at home. We've got a few seconds before the next fight kicks off. It most certainly feels like it's going to be the last one in the game. Whoever gets an advantage here could just try to take this right back into their own control and end it.
Drakos, I feel like G2 are slowly running out of time. They need to find picks and prods at Rogue. There's no towers on these inhibitors, the mid and the bots one, so G2 need to keep trying to push Rogue with numbers advantage, trying to get bot inhibs like backdoors, pushing Rogue to actually answer and make them base, because I think that the longer this game goes on, like we said 20 minutes ago, it's going to get better and better for Rogue, but G2 have full control still. The only way that Rogue can come back in this game is if they break this control, find some kind of team fights or find the Baron, but G2, as long as they don't make mistakes, they have the control for now, but one mistake could be huge.
Inspired has to be very careful because it doesn't take much for it to be a mistake. And Ekko leaps over, mounted up with the Rell, getting that stun from long range. Could be an instant death. Hansama, though, caught in the stun. Not quite.
No Jhin W to follow, no Rell stun either, but Caps, you can see he's been looking the whole game to try and blow some of the spells, trade these things for his ultimate, because his ultimate is such low cooldown. So 3 minutes on this Dragon Soul for either team, and G2 know if they overstep too far and Rogue gets some kills and get full control over the river, then G2 are going to face a really tough task of retaking it. So look at the vision for Rogue, trying to group up, trying to clear these waves, trying to make it so G2 can't sneak into their base in any way.
All it takes is a single big stun coming in from Caps, a single flank found out from Wunder to really just blow this game wide open. Keep in mind that's 2 exposed inhibitors on the side of Rogue. Rogue being very cautious about how they push forward. You can see backstepping even when they're not too much past their tier 2.
Yeah, Hans going to base. I'm curious to see what he picks up. Does he have his 6th item? Looks like he's going to cancel it. Don't think he does yet. Rekkles is the only person sitting on full 6 completed items here alongside Wunder. So these are definitely the huge carries for G2 now, as Caps is the one diving in, trying to buy time with his Zhonya's, and
you can see
G2 are going to take it by the looks of it.
Well earned in the vote. Odoamne leaping forward, maybe hoping to turn that one around. The stun's coming in. Odoamne doing literally no damage to Wunder, just trading cooldowns for nothing.
Look at G2 trying to pressure on so many lanes. You can see Caps just being super annoying for the side of Rogue when they go towards bot. Cap just wants to hit top tower, hit mid inhib. Rogue have to answer on so many different fronts, but the key thing here is Drakos that Hans is 6 items on Vayne, and G2, if Hans manages to get some free auto attacks in, 3 auto attacks, 1 passive proc, I think 1 member of G2 is dead. They are.
We've got double Zhonya's. We've got double Gale Force as a QSS for Rekkles, fully Mercurial Scimitar now, rather. And it's most... This is just, it's honestly, Caedrel, it's so tense. It doesn't feel like a 10k gold lead. You look at this game on paper, I show you the scoreboard, you're like, ah,
yeah,
this game is done. But
I think just because of comps difference, 1-3-1 versus a full teamfight comp, the longer the game goes on, the more teamfight comp is benefited. Unless the 1-3-1 has something like Camille or Jax that can really pop off in fights, I think the Quinn will struggle a little bit, but he does have a lot of damage, so if Rogue drive too deep, I think that G2 could definitely punish that, but 6 items for Larssen as well. G2 have run out of time now, Drakos. 1 minute on the Mountain Soul. I think the way you'll see this game played out is G2 will avoid fights at all costs, keep using their control to get Caps into the base, Wunder into the base, and start backdooring these inhibs, backdooring the Nexus towers, and force Rogue to keep basing and then trying to get the neutral objectives for it.
And by the time these Dragon spawns, it looks like we're going to have all summoners up and available for both sides. Keep in mind there's no TP for Wunder, but he has, well, this form on the Quinn, so he can move quite quickly across the map. Also keep in mind that both the Baron and the Mountain Soul will be on the table at the same time. Both objectives crucially important in this game.
Yeah, and G2, they know that if they kill either Larssen or Hans, they should have the team fight, because the rest of the Rogue don't really have the damage, but taking down Rogue and Larssen, Hans and Larssen is going to be a very, very difficult task for them. They don't have any point to click, CC, or engage. Caps looking for Larssen.
Larssen sidestepping, trading ult for ult. Overall, should be positive for Caps, though.
Yeah, Larssen has the TP if G2 want to turn towards this Dragon. But if Rogue commit too many numbers, maybe Caps and Wunder can start pushing in these side lanes, getting the bot inhib, getting the top inhib. Look at them on the side. You see Rogue trying to push down mid, trying to get some control. But look at the side lanes. G2, Caps already hitting this top tower. Wunder's going to get to the bot inhib soon. Does Rogue just want to start Baron?
Stepping forward, Larssen does so much damage to Caps. Wunder on the bottom side, though. They're splitting their attention. 3 members of Rogue setting up. They're prepared. They're ready to take the Baron.
Caps just TPing to base. He might be ulting back here. I'm not sure what he's doing there. He's in base. He needs to get back to the side lane ASAP.
Does he have enough time? It looks like no, he doesn't.
Okay, Caps TP to base. Wunder doesn't have TP either, so this is essentially a 2v3. Jankos isn't even there, so they're trading Mountain Soul for Baron here. I think Rogue are just favored.
Jhin shot. Rogue, they're going to grab it. It's close, but they do manage to make it in the end. Wunder still set up in the mid lane. Mountain Soul now for G2 as well. Big shields, but maybe, just maybe, Rogue can take a fight. Right now, they're in the pinch, though. This is massive, but Larssen is off to the side. If they pick off Larssen, that should be the end of the game. Any member going down could very well be the end of our match of the week.
Smart decision from Rogue. Just trade the Mountain Soul. We need Baron. We need to get some kind of control. We need to push out waves. Short recall time is important, but Wunder might look for more. There is a wave. He flashes in.
Mikyx, it's a clutch engage, but there's no follow-up. There's no one there to do damage. Trymbi gives his life to buy time for the rest of the team. Mikyx goes golden. Larssen off to the side. It's Rekkles going in versus the carry. Mikyx goes down. That damage! Wunder now has to run. Hansama goes over the wall. Hansama ready to turn it, but what is he ADC Jhin, he's alive, just barely, he's holding on. Rekkles trying to back off, Jankos trying to back off, the spear will not connect. Caps goes in, trying to block Hansama, but he can't do it, that's a double kill. Hansama goes down, but Larssen is still alive. G2, they have to run. Rogue have advantage. Rogue, have they done it? A 10k gold deficit, does it not matter? Have they turned it here?
Drakos, this game is crazy. It's a 3-for-2. G2 is still alive, and they have waves pushing in, so Rogue can't actually do anything for this, but they do get the kills. Almost every summoner spell was blown, and you can see Rogue's late-game teamfight comp is so strong. Hans essentially 3-shot Wunder, and then Caps jumps in, does manage to pick him off, but Larssen rejoins the fight, and this game continues as we see the huge super minions pushing down mid. And Rogue are going to keep this game alive, Drakos. And look at this fight again. Mickey's engage was crucial. Flash Wolf gets the stun onto Trymbi here as well. So triple CC from Mikyx. Instantly takes out Trymbi. But look at the sleep. It also buys time, and Rekkles on the side against Larssen forces Larssen to base. And that's the key thing, because now it's a 5v4. It's all on Hans. And look how fast it takes down Wunder. 2 auto attacks. This is the one time that flashing over the wall was good, Drakos. Flashes over, ease, procs to passive, and then the GA buys enough time for Larssen to come all the way around the side, get back into the fight, and eventually just take down Caps, who has no ultimate.
Still gonna get the final hit there in the end. And still, all things considered, a very close exchange. If Jankos had landed that spear, maybe Hansama doesn't get that kill trade back, but 6k damage. That's a late game Vayne.
That is a late game Vayne, but Hans has no GA now, and Rogue have some control of the game. They have the Baron, they're pushing down this mid lane, and they have the no inhib on mid and bot, but Wunder and Caps, look at them. You can see Rex on the top side, Wunder pushing in the bot side, so G2 need to keep waves pushed in. If G2 drop the ball and they lose control on the map, then I think Rogue can just run away with this game with the amount of power that they've got on these late game carries, because Hans has sold away this GA, picked up a scimitar, so now he is a 6-item Vayne and he is online.
6-item again.
6-item again.
He can sell again in 5 minutes to get the GA back. Passive fully reset as Rekkles is now off to the side lane.
21k gold. He's a rich man.
Yes, he most certainly is. And it's important to note, Mickey burned both of his summoners, I believe, in that last exchange, or at least the flash. Trymbi still has his, so there is a chance for the rookie on Rogue to make a miracle play to shift this game back in their favor. If he can catch out Rekkles, really the only priority target that he would want to, or Wunder actually, to throw into the team, things would certainly work out in their favor.
I like the adaptation from Odoamne. He realizes he's not the carry, he just builds full tank. And you can see Inspired has full supportive build as well, so much pressure on Larssen and Hans on these fights. They have to be the ones picking up all of G2's members, and Trymbi, Inspired, and Odoamne are either buying time or just protecting them as much as they can, but G2 have maintained control. They have the Mountain Soul, so that's a lot more effective than that Baron that's one off for Rogue now, and the waves are pushing in. They're going 5-man top, Drakos.
Rogue need to be ready to force Caps. Fight. Caps is getting CC'd, getting locked up. They don't quite Slayer it perfectly. He is able to get out the Chrono Break.
And this is the thing, G2 can keep mid and bot inhib down for the entire game. Caps and Wunder can always walk in through the sides together while Rogue's trying to push out and get some kind of vision. So essentially Rogue are jailed to their base, and G2 are playing so well around it, making sure they keep top pushed, keeping these inhibs down. Means it's so Rogue are kind of handcuffed to their own base trade because they can't leave.
And again, to add insult to injury, the timers are synced. There's an Elder Dragon at the same time there is a Baron. Both of these could end the game in favor of G2. Rogue cannot afford to just pick one. Hansama has to sidestep here. Rogue need to be willing and ready to force a fight.
Yeah, I think at this stage of the game, if G2 get Elder Dragon, Hans and Larssen, they just don't have enough tools to survive that kind of burst coming out from all of these carries from G2. So look at Wunder and Caps just holding hands, keeping these lanes pushed in, while the 3 of G2, this 1-3-1 has evolved to a point where Caps and Wunder can just stay together and keep pressuring these side lanes to make sure that Rogue, if they try to answer anything G2 throw at them, they just lose inhibs and they lose out on every trade. So I'm curious to see what kind of vision Rogue have. They probably don't have any vision past their own Nexus gates. One sneaky ward up there, and that's about it, Drakos.
And even the TP flank at from Odoamne at this point just isn't that threatening to the side of G2. Seeing what they can do. Mickey potentially caught out the body slam, the knockback. Mickey now caught in the middle of the team. Instant support death.
This is huge, Drakos. Now they can start pushing out of their base. Mickey's down. It's a 4v5. 50 seconds on Mickey. Now Rogue, look at them instantly reacting, running down mid, pushing the wave, running into the bot side jungle. They know that this Elder Drake is more important than this Baron, Drakos.
Right as bot hit inhib is coming up. Mid inhib shouldn't be too far off either. Taking away this Elder is huge. Is just about everything for this game. Baron matters as well, though. They cannot afford to split their attentions. They have to stay focused.
Now the key thing here is Mickey will be up for the soul. Yes, that's correct. For the Elder Dragon, he will be alive. But the problem is Rogue are going to lose control. They have no wards on the side of G2. It's going to be really difficult for them to face check. So if Rogue can maintain this control, get some kind of vision, be able to leave their base, it means they can buy more time before Wunder and Caps can get into their base. So they have more time to react, more time to play with, and more time to fight.
30 seconds, excuse me, and counting. Caps trying to find an avenue into the side lane.
Look at them, holding hands again. They want to try and catch out Odo, try and force his flash, try and force an ult, because if he dies, then they're going to lose this dragon for sure.
Double dash to safety. The rest of Rogue's instantly collapsing on mid lane. Trymbi here to try to bail Odoamne out. Odoamne ulting, running out, but it looks like he will get dropped immediately. Larssen now TPing into the middle of two members of G2. Still, G2 are going to back. They don't want to fix him again. This one. Oh, God, that is Azir damage. He just one-shots immediately.
All of Rogue have ran towards the top side. G2 are pinging on this Elder Dragon. It spawns in 5 seconds. Hans is around the mid wave. He would have to face check if he walks into this bot side jungle, and Larssen catching top wave to stop Caps being pushing in. So Caps, can he beat this dragon? I think G2 might be able to pick this up. Rogue have to answer somehow. If they lose this dragon, they're losing Baron too.
That's it. It's 9k getting lower. Oh, Inspired getting hit by the spear as well. Jankos landing him when they matter most.
TP from behind. That's
6K.
Caps. He's looking to start the fight. Drakos, he has no flash.
No room. Curtain call. Inspired going to be in trouble. They're moving. Trymbi may be a miracle steal, but it should just about be impossible. That's going to be Elder Dragon taken down. G2 now set up to win. Trymbi, no! G2 just collapsing, spotting the weaknesses in Rogue and punishing so well. Baron, their next objective. The Nexus, the only thing going to be left to stand in front of them.
Yeah, Mountain Soul for the side of G2, Elder Dragon, Baron, they're going to have all the tools they need for this composition to push into the base. And although Hans has flash up and he has 6 items, if he can't find the fight, then there's nothing he can do. So G2 just playing so well around the picks that they made, and Wunder and Caps definitely the MVPs of this game, making sure that Rogue can't leave their base. And when Odoamne steps way too far forward, he gets punished, gets taken down. Good play from Larssen though, does pick up Wunder, but this Elder Dragon does go across to G2.
And Caedrel, I can't believe it's a 50-minute game. It's it's the longest game of the split so far. We'll see how long it goes at this point, but it feels like G2 have all but won it. Yeah. It has been so back and forth, even when it feels like G2 were in absolute control. Rogue have still found these opportunities, and I mean, what a game. Rogue holding on to strands of hope at this point to try to come back.
Yeah, essentially everyone has 6 items now, and Hans has sold the Scimitar, re-picked up the GA because he knows he's against an Elder Dragon. And this Elder Dragon's going to sit on a little longer, and G2 want to make sure they abuse it, pushing in every single wave, making sure they can start a fight, and if Rogue want to try anything, that Elder Dragon's going to sway the fight. So, inhib to the focus here for G2. They have the Baron buff as well. If Rogue look for a fight, I don't think they can win it. I think there's way too much damage on G2. They push in every wave. Rogue, what is their response here? Can they buy time? Can they defend the Nexus? Give up 3 inhibs, but what happens in 5 minutes time? You're just going to lose the same buffs again, so G2 pushing in.
Getting leaping in. Odoamne instantly one shot. The GA is going to come back up, but Rekkles has already laid the trap down. Wunder ready to go in a moment's notice. Mikyx going in to finish the job. G2 absolutely massacring Rogue. Rogue held on. They held on to hope, but it was too little. It was too late, and now Larssen, one last heroic stand, will not be enough. G2 absolutely obliterating Rogue in these final moments, in these final fights, as Wunder will find the shutdown. G2 will find the game and tie up first place with Rogue, 7-2.
Huge game from G2. They pulled off such a hard-to-execute comp. Yes, they made mistakes. Yes, the game went later on, but they kept up their control. They didn't make a grave mistake to the point where they lost full control of the map. They made sure they kept it on either one lane or another when they got picked off, but they do manage to pick up the Elder, the Baron, the Mountain Soul, every single buff you need in the late game. They do manage to close out the game, and you can just see the power of the Elder Dragon.
Yeah. And I mean, you can see the relief as they make it out of that one, as they close it out. Because for so long, it felt like they were in total control, and for so long, they could not end the game. Kia player of the game, at LEC on Twitter, Wunder, Jankos, and Rekkles. I was in it. I was in the thrill of it. You were in for it. It was tense. It was intense. I was tripping over my own words, trying to say so many. There wasn't enough room to speak. There was so much action on the screen. It was a match of the week, most certainly.
That was a match of the week. I think, wow, G2 just showing up from, yes, a little bit of a shaky start, losing games here and there. I think that game kind of solidifies that G2 are still here to play.
They absolutely are. Well, the final game of the day is going to be the remake, wow, between Fnatic and Excel. I'm going to get a Red Bull, but don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back for Game 4 again after this.
Lovely.
Yeah, I consider Fnatic being a little bit weaker than before. I think Rekkles and Hylissang had a really strong synergy, and I'm not sure if Upset and Hylissang will be able to build that so fast.
As soon as he tries to jump back in, and now Treats is on the front line. Jezu ripped through.
Patrick is a stable player, but he's not outstanding.
Not a fight that G2 can afford to take. Whippo into the back line, my God!
systems are overloading. We can't risk another game.
We need to take a break and regroup.
We're starting to lose our mind. Captain, we cannot go back to Elo Hell. Last time it took us months to get out of it.
Initiate break protocol.
Hurry up!
Yes! Yes! I did it! We did it! We did it!
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Welcome back to the LEC after this insane match of the week. G2 take it in the end, and they tie Rogue for first place in the LEC. And Jankos, how do you feel about this insane game? Madness it was.
Well, hello everyone. I think the game was actually pretty stressful, I suppose. I think they made good plays, good defensive plays, which made the game very, very hard for us to end. And I think we played very well in the early game, especially Mikyx, that kind of like smeared on hands one time, which gave us a lot of bot lane priority. So I think the game was really, really fun to play. Super stressful, but super fun to play.
It was really fun to watch, at least. There's been a lot of discussion around your composition and Rogues. First off, why did you choose to go for a 1-3-1 composition, especially against this opponent?
I mean, we didn't really like choose to go 1-3-1. We just kind of figured it out in draft, right? I mean, our game plan, the draft, would be dependent on their picks, and since they picked the way they did, we chose to go with Ekko and Quinn, which made that draft heavy 1-3-1. I think in a different world, we could have, a Volibear top lane and Orianna mid lane, and we'll just go for team fight. So I think that since we are very talented players, we can kind of play any style, which allowed us to counter pick lanes and snowball the game that way.
Wow, a lot of confidence and also adapting on the fly for the drafts. I didn't know that was something that teams used to do. So that's.
I mean,
new
we
for
have
me.
Grabs as our coach,
yeah,
so it's
okay.
like we can't really trust him, you know. So it's like we kind of have to figure it out ourselves because we know that our coach won't do anything. So.
Makes sense. You have to do the job yourself. But I'm talking about Grabs. I want to bounce back on the Nidalee pick because first off, I would like to apologize for flaming you on the champion a couple of weeks back. But what did you think about your performance on the champion today? And what is Grabs going to say about this?
I mean, I have been practicing a lot of Nidalee on my streams, so I feel like a lot of my viewers would probably understand that I'm actually so good on the champion. No, I mean, I think that I can play Nidalee to a definitely higher level than I used to at Worlds. I still think that there's room to improve. I think some of my spears were like pretty cringe, but some of them were pretty good. And a lot of them were actually zoning spears. That's why some of them didn't hit, but they were just to make sure they don't walk this way. But yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with my own performance. I think that if we would keep up this performance, which I think was probably one of our better ones this split, we would play much better. But this is not how scrims look like. I think this game was very slow-paced and very calculated. And normally in scrims, there's like way more kills very early and there's a lot of madness going on. So I think this was one of the better games as well, this split so far, I think, for our team. And for Rogue probably as well. I mean, I think they played pretty good too.
Yeah. I agree. Keep on finding excuses about the spears. That's not my problem, actually.
Like always.
Focusing on the league, on the game, and on the teams. I can't help but notice that G2 this year is less decisive than the previous years. I assume that you still have some adjustments to make with Rekkles joining in. Can you tell me a bit more about what's going on backstage and what's the difference between G2 last year and this year? Because it doesn't seem to be the same, especially when we watch your games.
I mean, I think the biggest difference is probably changing a player. I think both Rekkles and Perex are really great. And I think that when we played with Perex, we kind of had the same roster for 2 years. And that's why by the end of last year or even throughout last year, we already all were on the same page and we kind of were, you know, all together, so to speak. And then with Rekkles joining, we have to figure out the game in a different way. It doesn't really mean we have to play in a different way. It just means that we all have to be like again on the same page, right? He comes from a different team and a different environment, and I think that all of us are trying to be the very best, and we want to be the best of Fnatic that Rekkles did bring, and also the best of G2 that we had. So that's why there's still a lot of growth to be done before playoffs and before competing at MSI. Hopefully, if we do make it to playoffs and win European split.
We will see about that. A lot of games to go through before thinking about playoffs, but still, Jankos, thank you so much for this interview. Congrats on winning Match of the Week. And I wish you a good day off. See you next week. And we're going to take a short break and we'll come back with the remake, the big remake. Fnatic versus XL in a short time. Stay tuned.